First of all, I'm working with Sita Software, and we would like to welcome you to Luxembourg for your first Firebird Conference here, and I hope you guys come back many more times. I need to turn on the recording, so just bear with me for a second. Okay, so that's now recording. Now, it's been very interesting listening to the various technical presentations this morning. The perspective you're going to get from me is one of a commercial user. So, in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the company, which we formed in 1995, although I just joined it this year. It's a company that produces ERP software and provides hosting services for applications. We've got a vision for the future. We know lots of things that need to be done, and we want to grow with Firebird and hope that you grow accordingly with us. So we have some ideas of what we need from you, and thank you profusely for what you've produced so far. Because, you know, without you guys and Firebird, we would not be where we are today. So that's why we primarily wanted to invite you here and say, thanks guys, this has been good and let's keep it going. So in this presentation, I want to talk about the evolution of the company in terms of the staff, its growth, some of the products and services that we have, our history with Firebird, why we chose it, and how we use it. We're going to look at some of our landmark clients. The ones I'm going to feature today are part of the Munich Re group, and they are DKV Globality and DKV Luxembourg. Mark Schaefer is representing DKV Luxembourg today. And while I'm at it, I may as well introduce my friends from Sita Software at the back. If you guys just want to wave or stand and draw attention to yourselves, they're all over there. They're all from Luxembourg, they're very modest, they don't draw attention to themselves. Okay. And we also want to talk to you about our company's future, you know, how we see ourselves as an international player, and how we wanted to host ERP services for particularly small and medium-sized enterprises. We believe technology is for people, it should be used and it should be affordable. And also, finally, we're going to talk about our future needs and our involvement with the Firebird organization. Sita Software is made in Luxembourg, and it was formed in 1995, and from 1998 to 2011, the company has grown from 6 people to 37. So what's happened is it started off as a development company, provided some support, had some administrative people, but given the demand, it needed more and more developers, it got project management, and now we're looking to grow again. And so at all times, I think, you know, you want to keep an eye on this company. I was very impressed. I moved here from Canada and Austin, Texas, and I was very impressed with what this little company was trying to do and its entrepreneurial spirit. So here we are. So what about the company, and what about Firebird, and what about the technology? So it started off in 1995 and was on MS-DOS and produced accounting systems and provided accounting support. Very quickly people became interested in the company and said, well, yes, accounting is really good, it's a core. Can we also use it for doing inventory and doing traceability? And thanks to Mad Cows, you know, the abattoir in Ethelbrook wanted to know which cow made it into which package. You know, so it became inventory, and we did a whole lot of traceability of making sure that only good meat was provided to the market. And at that time, the software moved on to Windows, and very quickly the need grew to find Delphi and Interbase. So that's really became the birth of Azure. And meanwhile, the clients got interested and said, okay, we've got a client base coming from the transport industry, and later on we had people from logistics. But in going from MS-DOS to Windows to the Delphi Interbase pairing, very quickly the high connection cost in royalties was almost becoming prohibitable. It's a hard word. And we were very grateful to Jason Wharton, producing those IB objects, which gave us the ability to connect many people onto the database with just one connection fee. So that helped move the company along. Thanks, Jason. And of course the open source into Firebird, which was wonderful because it enabled us, really freed us. But what I want to point out here is that although we had Firebird, there's a lot of stuff that our guys did. You know, they developed abilities for Firebird to do synchronization. We developed what we call the IB Explorer, which enabled us to visualize what exactly was in the database and manipulate pieces as we needed them. And in time we grew to produce a document management system, and we added our own little GUI to the GBank. So that's all stuff that we're doing, and probably out of sight of what you're doing, but there's an opportunity whereby we can share what we've done with you and vice versa. So, and then Mark Schaefer, I think, and Patrick Fish discovered us, is that right? And we enabled DKV Luxembourg to integrate a bunch of their systems and get into the health insurance business. The health insurance business is really complicated. I mean, it's not just selling potatoes or anything like that. It's about people having premiums and changing their mind and traveling and saying, I'm now 56, my premiums are not right, and then you've got brokers. Every day we seem to sort of be very precise on it. It's this complex stuff. I mean, I actually did work with NASA, and this is incredibly, if it doesn't approximate to rocket science, it nearly does. So then our insurance business, so we did some stuff over in Germany, and then picked up Leonidas, which makes chocolates, so they're one of our clients, and then eventually to doing work with DKV Globality. So we provide a full range of services there. We do business analysis, we implement the software, we support it, we've got the infrastructure to look after it, we do failovers and backups and so on, and it keeps us hopping and busy, and it's a delightful piece of work. But we're expanding all the time, and now we've got clients who are looking to us and saying, okay, what about manufacturing? And so we're looking at the cloud and how we can do extended synchronization, and we keep hearing the word cluster. So when my technical colleagues want to come and talk to you, they'll say cluster, cluster, cluster. And then you give me reasons for why not cluster, or whatever you have in mind for that. Okay, so what happened as the company was growing is that we've got this ERP thing, which is great for health insurance, accounting, bookkeeping, workflow management, and so on. So the company's got a solid base to grow from. Oh, and meanwhile, we picked up some international awards. In 2009, Treasury Today gave us the Adam Smith Award with Citibank and DKV Globality, and that's because, as Paul Beach is going to find out, our software accounting package is multi-currency and very useful for doing VAT, no matter, you could be dealing in Great British Pounds or Euros or whatever, Yens even, and you can do that all cleanly in the accounting system and file your VATs, so that's a small commercial. And then just this year, we got the IT Nation Award in Luxembourg, and that was a flagship award for DKV Globality. And for the guys who can read French, you agree with me that the translation says that it's really extending the borders of Luxembourg to outside to deal with an international clientele. Because the sort of health insurance that we do at DKV Globality is for expats. Luxembourg is a country where some of you got stuck in the traffic jam this morning. A lot of people come in, work here, and then leave. They don't just come in from Belgium or France, they come in from elsewhere. This is a very international community and a great place to be if you want to work globally, and indeed DKV Globality has discovered that. Okay, so Sita Software and who are our key clients, I've already alluded to them. So part of Munich Re. Now Munich Re is not your mom and pa store. It's actually quite big, and as you see, in 2010 it made a profit of 2.4 billion. And so it's like, oh gosh, little Sita Software from Niederkorn. Well, it's hard enough to find Luxembourg on the map, let alone Niederkorn. But there it is. And so yes, we're dealing with a company that makes a $2.4 billion profit a year, and probably more. So how did that happen? So if you go to the Munich Re site, you go to Munich Re and you look under Munich Health, and then you zoom down into DKV Luxembourg and DKV Globality. So that's where you find that. That's where we live. So what about DKV Luxembourg? Every time I travel, I log on to DKV Luxembourg, and I say, okay, where am I going, and what my age is, and what my address is, and I do my little transaction with Visa, and very quickly I get a confirmation in my email of the insurance that I've bought, and also the papers that I need, so I can go off and say, yep, I'm good for travel insurance. And a number of travel companies within Luxembourg use DKV Luxembourg for travel insurance. And so this is a great market, and I'm very happy that we can help these people. So originally, as I said, back in 2004, they had 3 IT systems: accounting, statistics, policy, and claims management. And what we could do by providing them Azure was to integrate it all in one system. And it's clean, it's seamless, and they live within Azure. So with people like Google and others who are very happy to keep you in their world, I'm very happy to tell you that people at DKV Luxembourg, DKV Globality, live in our world, day in, day out. Okay, so I'll just touch on this. I mean, I don't have to read every word on the slide. So again, with DKV Globality, we started in 2005, and they did pretty much the same sort of thing. Except here, we integrated the data management system and really enabled them to grow their businesses and increase their international footprint. Okay. So why did people use Azure? My first question when I arrived to Sita was, Firebird, why Firebird, why not Oracle? That's another question that comes up. Well, people choose Azure because they find it easy to use. It's multilingual, it's multi-currency, and people who've got international businesses can use it very, very easily. And in terms of the global client base, as DKV Globality has clients all over the place, including service centers and TPAs, third-party assistants. So right now, we're actually configuring a network for them to make sure that they can handle expats in places like Singapore. So I might have a situation where I'm an American who's based in Singapore but goes on holiday to South Africa and falls ill. So what happens? How do you handle that situation? Who pays? Who's got the liability? Which broker? Which claim? So that's the sort of complexity that we handle and enable businesses to take care of. It's traditional, it seems, to have questions at the end of this presentation, but if you have any questions as we go, just fire away. So what about some of the technical stuff? So here we have the user experience where people go onto the websites, and it's not just the end user, also the people who are involved in the business, like brokers and third-party assistants, can log on and go into using our clustered Azure databases so that they can interact at any time. Remember, this has to be 24/7. The sun never sets. So people need to enable it, and we need to be able to synchronize data and move along. So here's an example of the Globality website. This website's been updated since this slides were produced, but still the idea is very similar, that you can actually log in to your own area, so you have a personalized area, or you can do a quick calculation and say, okay, were I planning on getting some sort of insurance, how much would it cost me? And then you can just dive in for some general information as well. So here's some of the online applications screenshots that I just want to give you, just because we're trying to ease the user experience and make it efficient for an organization. So you go in, put in your online application, and should you want travel insurance, you would provide your detail. This is the DKV Luxembourg thing. And then very quickly, as I said, the situation when I want to go traveling, I just go in, put my information in, pay my account, and then the documents are sent to me. And everything, all the documents are managed in the document management system so that I can find them, or any particular client has his history tracked through the document management system and in the database. So I get my documents immediately. And here's an example of something which, and also we generate stuff for invoices, yes. If I don't pay it, or if I need to pay it at a later date, invoices are also sent to me. and on a routine basis, we produce invoices for corporate clients. It's not just the individual, because you know, some of the clients that we have are Porsche, for example. Everybody in Porsche for health insurance is insured through DKB Globality. Okay, so what we'd like to also say is that we have e-claims. People file e-claims, and the business rule is that we try to settle these e-claims within 2 days. So these are operational systems and dependent on Firebird. And again, this is an example of corporate clients where we can handle group business and settle the individuals. Particularly, they might be yearly pairs or quarterly pairs or monthly pairs, or they might have children, or they get divorced, and then what happens? I mean, it's a very human situation, is the insurance business, and we have to reflect the reality of all that in our system. And also brokers. We provide access to the brokers, so they can say, how am I managing my clients? You know, what's happening with them? Am I getting my commissions right? Has the commission structure changed? And what's going on? What sort of planning can they do? They can do underwriting planning. I mean, on a routine basis, we work with actuaries, brokers, underwriters, lawyers. So all these people come together to run the complex insurance business. I used to think it was really dull, but actually it's got a lot to it. All right, so that's a story about Azure ERP. So why did we pick Firebird? We found it easy to install. It's low maintenance. We don't have to have a troop of database administrators. You know, there's savings on that. DBAs, in some organizations I've worked in, are little princes, you know, and we like to have an entourage as well. We don't need that with the Firebird, thank you. It's good. It's good software, and it's good price. And in some cases, it's certainly not Oracle. I've been in situations where people have decided to get married to SAP, and you know, $10 million later, and you know, 2 years on, the project's overrun, and we're still wondering what's going on. So, as I've already said, you know, yes, it enabled Azure, and in terms of size, it seems to have enough room in it to put all the records that we need. So far, it's 30 million, and I think there's room for more. In terms of speed and performance, it seems to be just fine, and obviously, you know, there's no memory, and performance can always get better, so yes, let's keep going. It's stable enough because it manages our 24/7 needs for our client base, and it seems to be scalable. I've heard some of the technical talks this morning. I haven't attended all of them, but you know, it certainly sounds like there's a push to do all that. What do we need? So we sat down and said, you know, if we could have clustering, that would be great, because that would enhance our 24/7 platform. And you know, with a big deal about security, there are no secrets, but there really should be secrets. So let's see if we can do some encryption. So we need some of that. And if we don't have that, then people start sort of saying, well, you know, what about Oracle? What about Postgres SQL or MySQL? And we say, okay, what about costs? And then, you know, we can back them down. But however, you know, there's room for this sort of thing. So Azure Cloud, this is sort of a schematic of what we think our cloud architecture is like. Now you guys are quite technical, so your attention has just gone up, so good. What this means here is that any number of people can log on from the internet, you know, go across our firewall in the DMZ and go into access our web services, and the red dots reflect that we could have many Firebird-based databases, and then use them to synchronize back and forth and do backups. And so we do consider you know, Firebird as a very important piece in going forward, and to think that we can manage and meet the needs of our clientele is both big, and I think the point of showing you the Munich Re group was, yes, you've got some very big clients out there who use Firebird and are happily doing so, But also we want to be able to, as I said in my opening few slides, was to say, okay, well, what about your small shops? What about those guys? How are they going to use Firebirds? And I think, given the hosting services that we want to provide, Firebird meets those needs as well. We're going to have a lunch break after this, and if you want to have more details, our guys are all back in the corner over there, and they're wearing these Sita Software things so you can identify them and corner them, which is good. I don't really want to talk about this slide very much again, but I'll just get on to the... Oh, I've got a repeated slide, sorry. Okay, there we go. In terms of our business future, we have visions of a business center in Niederkorn, making it easier for people to get to there from neighboring countries and provide the infrastructure that we need to look after our clients, and also actually have an intelligent building and use a good deal of software which is developed within Sita Software to run it and manage it and maintain it. So this is going to be a green building, and we're hoping that the Luxembourgish government is inspired to help us with this. So, in terms of the community, we're very involved. We provide hosting for non-profit organizations, and there's an interesting thing happening where people say, what about this money thing? What's happening to the euro? I don't know. I'm now retired, why should I care? And but I've got skills. If I can teach your son how to read German, maybe that's worth 10 points, and I can give you 10 points to mow my lawn. So we've got this little barter system going on, and that can be managed within Azure. It's just a currency. It doesn't matter. And we're enabling one of the communes. Communes always sound so sort of Eastern European, and But so one of the communes here, it wants to have this non-financial bartering system set up, and we can do that within Azure. And they have a shop where they make things and sell things. And again, our Azure POS, point of sale system, is used for that. One of the things that I'm keen on is this idea of micro-insurance. How can we insure somebody who's been growing coffee beans and wants to transport them and wants to spend 10 rupees, why not, and take them to the market? And what happens if something goes wrong? For that small micro insurance kinds of transactions that enable and provide confidence, manage risk for the small person. I'm very keen on making sure that we can do this. We know how to do insurance. We've got a great infrastructure. We want to reach out. And also in terms of Firebird partnership, we're happy to have you here, and also will be involved in the future. I think we're looking at some kind of a level of sponsorship. We need to figure out what exactly it's going to be. That said, I'd like to now introduce you to Vincenzo Sita. Peshkov was asking me, where is he? Yesterday, whether there he is. It's an Indian goddess. The name for Sita is, there's an Indian goddess called Sita, but actually in this case it's named after Vincenzo Sita, who's the kind of founder and the developer. Vince, if you just want to come up and say a few words.
Yes, I think I can't say much more than my colleague Jas. I'm very happy to have him the last 6 months, and hope the next 30 years. What we want to do is, our goal from the beginning when we did Azure was to offer to the customer a possibility to have a system where we all the time said we want an SAP for poor people, and that's what we try to do for a fair price, that everybody can have a good system, ERP system, and that's why we are so with Firebird, because I think without Firebird, like Jas said, it was not possible to do all those things, because, like in the IT, a lot of things cost a lot of money, and not everybody has the chance to buy good software. And our goal is to say we can be the interface between both small company and big company, and offer the same service that a big company can have with our Azure. What we try to do is to have an all-in-one system for for everybody, that everybody who could want to do his small business or big business, that he could do it. And what I want to say first, thank you very much to Firebird and also to Jason, like we just said before. And if you have any other questions, we try to do our possible to promote Firebird, and I think we reach now this year our goal from going from small customer, from single customer to communicate. That's what we want to reach, and we hope that in the future we can promote much more Firebird, and that's why we want to organize, I hope in the future, more conferences. Thank you very much for coming, and